Sam Goody, the record store chain, iTunes silenced. In the golden age of music retail, when teenagers spent their allowances on vinyl records and later compact discs, one name dominated shopping malls across America: Sam Goody. For over half a century, this iconic chain served as the soundtrack supplier to generations of music lovers, from the rock and roll revolution of the 1950s through the grunge era of the 1990s. Founded by Samuel Gudowitz in 1951, Sam Goody began as a single store in New York City, but would eventually grow into a retail empire with over 800 locations nationwide. The company's yellow and red logo became synonymous with music discovery, where customers could browse endless rows of albums, chat with knowledgeable staff about the latest releases, and discover new artists through carefully curated listening stations. Sam Goody wasn't just a store, it was a cultural institution that shaped how America consumed music for decades. The chain pioneered innovative retail concepts like midnight album releases, exclusive promotional materials, and comprehensive music catalogs that made it the go-to destination for serious music enthusiasts and casual listeners alike. Samuel Gudowitz, known professionally as Sam Goody, opened his first record store at 49th Street and Broadway in Manhattan with a revolutionary business model that would transform music retail forever. Unlike traditional music stores that sold records at full manufacturer's suggested retail price, Goody offered significant discounts by purchasing overstock inventory from major labels and selling popular albums at reduced prices. His strategy of buying in massive quantities allowed him to negotiate better wholesale prices, which he passed along to customers in the form of savings that often reached 20 to 30% below competitors' prices. The original store quickly gained a reputation among New York's music scene, attracting everyone from struggling musicians to celebrities who appreciated both the selection and the savings. Goody's keen understanding of consumer behavior led him to stock not just current hits, but also maintain extensive back catalogs of jazz, classical, and folk music that other retailers often ignored. By 1955, just 4 years after opening, Sam Goody had expanded to 3 locations and was generating annual revenues exceeding $1 million. The company's early success was built on Goody's personal philosophy that music should be accessible to everyone, not just those who could afford full retail prices, a principle that resonated strongly with the emerging youth culture of the 1950s. The 1960s marked the beginning of Sam Goody's transformation from a regional discount chain into a national powerhouse, perfectly positioned to capitalize on the unprecedented explosion of popular music culture. As Beatlemania swept across America and rock music became a dominant cultural force, Sam Goody stores became gathering places where young people could discover the latest releases from British invasion bands, Motown artists, and folk rock pioneers. The company expanded aggressively during this decade, opening locations in major metropolitan areas and establishing its presence in the newly popular shopping mall format that was reshaping American retail. By 1967, Sam Goody operated 45 stores across multiple states and had become synonymous with music retail excellence. The chain's success during this period was enhanced by its innovative marketing strategies, including exclusive promotional partnerships with record labels that provided customers with limited edition releases, promotional posters, and advance access to highly anticipated albums. Sam Goody also pioneered the concept of in-store listening booths, allowing customers to preview albums before purchase, a service that built customer loyalty and reduced returns. The company's staff became legendary for their musical knowledge, often serving as informal consultants who could guide customers toward new discoveries based on their existing preferences. This personal touch, combined with competitive pricing and extensive selection, established Sam Goody as the premier destination for music retail during one of the most creative and commercially successful periods in recording history. Corporate ownership changes in the 1970s and 1980s brought both opportunities and challenges that would define Sam Goody's middle years as a retail giant. In 1978, American Can Company acquired the chain for $45 million, providing the capital necessary for massive expansion, but also introducing corporate bureaucracy that sometimes conflicted with the chain's music-focused culture. Under new ownership, Sam Goody embarked on an ambitious growth strategy that saw the number of locations increase to over 190 stores by 1985, with many situated in prime mall locations across suburban America. The chain successfully navigated the transition from vinyl to cassette tapes, adapting its inventory and store layouts to accommodate the changing preferences of consumers who increasingly valued portability and durability. Sam Goody stores became fixtures in shopping malls during the 1980s, often serving as anchor tenants that drew music-loving customers who would spend hours browsing through extensive collections organized by genre, artist, and record label. The company's success during this period was reflected in its annual revenues, which exceeded $500 million by the mid-1980s, making it one of the largest music retailers in the world. However, the corporate environment also brought standardization that sometimes diminished the unique character that had made individual Sam Goody stores special, as centralized buying decisions replaced the local expertise that had been a hallmark of the chain's early success. The introduction of compact discs in the 1980s initially appeared to be a tremendous opportunity for Sam Goody, as the new format's higher profit margins and superior sound quality drove music sales to unprecedented levels. The chain invested heavily in CD inventory and redesigned store layouts to showcase the sleek new format, with dedicated sections that highlighted the improved audio quality and durability that CDs offered over vinyl and cassette alternatives. Sam Goody's extensive network of stores gave it significant negotiating power with record labels, allowing the chain to secure favorable wholesale pricing on CD inventory and maintain its competitive edge in an increasingly crowded retail marketplace. By 1990, the company operated over 350 locations and had successfully positioned itself as a leader in CD sales, with many stores generating annual revenues exceeding $1 million per location. The chain's success during the CD boom years was enhanced by its ability to stock deep catalogs of both new releases and back catalog titles that were being reissued in the new format, creating multiple revenue streams from both new music discovery and catalog replacement purchases. Sam Goody also capitalized on the collectible nature of CD packaging, offering exclusive releases with special artwork, bonus tracks, and limited edition features that appealed to serious music collectors. The company's mall-based locations proved ideal for CD sales, as the format's smaller size and higher value made it perfect for impulse purchases and gift-giving occasions that drove significant holiday and special event sales. The 1990s represented both the peak and the beginning of the decline for Sam Goody, as the chain reached its maximum expansion while simultaneously facing new competitive pressures that would ultimately prove insurmountable. By 1995, Sam Goody operated over 800 stores nationwide and had become virtually synonymous with mall-based music retail, generating annual revenues approaching $1 billion and employing thousands of music-passionate staff members across the country. However, this period of maximum expansion coincided with the emergence of big-box retailers like Best Buy and Walmart, which began selling CDs as loss leaders at prices that undercut traditional music retailers. These new competitors could afford to sell popular albums below cost because music represented just a small fraction of their overall business, unlike Sam Goody, for which music sales were the primary revenue source. The chain's mall-based locations, which had been a significant advantage during the 1980s, became increasingly expensive as shopping mall foot traffic began to decline and landlords demanded higher rents from established tenants. Sam Goody also faced growing competition from independent record stores that offered more specialized selections and from emerging online retailers that provided convenience and often better prices. Despite these challenges, the chain continued to serve as an important cultural institution throughout the 1990s, hosting in-store performances by major artists, offering midnight sales for highly anticipated releases, and maintaining its reputation as a place where music lovers could discover new artists and connect with fellow enthusiasts. The dawn of the new millennium brought unprecedented challenges to Sam Goody's traditional business model, as digital technology began to revolutionize how consumers discovered, purchased, and consumed music. The rise of file-sharing services like Napster in 1999 marked the beginning of a fundamental shift in music consumption patterns that would ultimately prove devastating to traditional music retailers. While illegal downloading initially appeared to be a niche activity practiced primarily by tech-savvy college students, it quickly spread to mainstream consumers who discovered they could obtain music instantly and often for free through peer-to-peer networks. Sam Goody's management initially underestimated the threat posed by digital distribution, viewing it as a temporary phenomenon that would eventually be controlled through legal action and industry regulation. The chain's stores continued to focus on physical CD sales, even as an increasing number of customers began reducing their visits to music stores in favor of online alternatives. By 2003, Sam Goody's parent company, Musicland Group, was operating over 1,300 music retail locations under various banners, but was experiencing declining same-store sales and mounting financial pressure from landlords and creditors. The company's attempts to adapt to changing consumer preferences included modest investments in online sales platforms and digital kiosks, but these efforts were insufficient to offset the dramatic decline in physical music sales that accelerated throughout the early 2000s. The final chapter of Sam Goody's story unfolded rapidly after Apple launched iTunes Store in 2003, providing consumers with a legal, convenient, and affordable alternative to physical music purchases that perfectly aligned with changing consumption preferences. iTunes offered individual song purchases for 99 cents, allowing customers to buy only the tracks they wanted rather than purchasing entire albums, a fundamental shift that undermined the traditional album-based sales model that had sustained music retailers for decades. The convenience of instant downloads, combined with the growing popularity of iPods and other portable digital music players, created a perfect storm that devastated physical music sales across the industry. Sam Goody's parent company, Musicland Group, filed for bankruptcy in January 2006, unable to service its debt obligations as revenues plummeted and landlords demanded immediate payment of back rent. The bankruptcy process resulted in the closure of most Sam Goody locations, with remaining stores sold to Trans World Entertainment, which continued to operate a reduced number of locations under the Sam Goody name until 2012. The chain's collapse was remarkably swift, considering its decades of market dominance, with over 700 stores closing within a 2-year period and thousands of employees losing their jobs as the music retail landscape permanently transformed. The final Sam Goody locations struggled to remain relevant in an increasingly digital marketplace, often resorting to selling music-related merchandise, DVDs, and video games in an unsuccessful attempt to replace declining CD revenues. Sam Goody's failure represents more than just the collapse of a retail chain. It illustrates the profound challenges traditional businesses face when technological innovation fundamentally alters consumer behavior and industry economics. The company's demise was not the result of poor management or lack of vision, but rather the inevitable consequence of a technological revolution that made its core business model obsolete virtually overnight. Unlike gradual market shifts that allow established companies time to adapt, the digital music revolution occurred so rapidly that traditional retailers had insufficient time to develop viable alternative strategies. Sam Goody's extensive network of physical stores, which had been its greatest asset for over 5 decades, became an enormous liability when customers could access vastly larger music catalogs instantly from their homes or offices. The chain's knowledgeable staff, carefully curated selections, and community-building atmosphere could not compete with the convenience, price, and selection advantages offered by digital distribution platforms. The irony of Sam Goody's situation was that the company had built its reputation on making music more accessible and affordable, goals that digital platforms ultimately achieved more effectively than any physical retailer could match. The chain's legacy lives on in the memories of millions of music lovers who discovered their favorite artists while browsing Sam Goody's aisles, purchased their first albums with carefully saved allowance money, and experienced the excitement of midnight release parties for highly anticipated recordings. The story of Sam Goody serves as a cautionary tale about the relentless pace of technological change and the vulnerability of even the most successful businesses to disruption from unexpected sources. The chain's 55-year run represents an entire era of music retail that connected artists with audiences, created communities around shared musical interests, and made music discovery a social and cultural experience rather than merely a transaction. While digital platforms have undoubtedly made music more accessible and affordable than ever before, something intangible was lost when Sam Goody's doors closed forever, ending an era when purchasing music was an adventure that involved human interaction, serendipitous discovery, and the tactile pleasure of examining album artwork and liner notes. The company's failure demonstrates how quickly established market leaders can become irrelevant when fundamental industry assumptions change, regardless of their previous success, customer loyalty, or market position. For entrepreneurs and business leaders, Sam Goody's story emphasizes the critical importance of continuously monitoring technological trends and maintaining organizational agility capable of responding to radical market disruptions. The chain's legacy reminds us that while businesses may fail, their cultural impact often endures, influencing how entire generations experienced and related to music during some of the most creative and influential periods in popular culture history.